Hi, it's August. It's a beautiful day. We've got some lovely sunshine. Still got plenty of colour in the garden. I thought I'd show you what's going on in the Polytunnel and greenhouse today. So as you can see, we've got plenty going on in the Polytunnel. Tomatoes as usual this year, and every year, so I'm not going to grow so many. And here we are, far too many again. But never mind, do love growing them. A little bit behind this year. Had a really late year. Late start to the year, as I'm sure all of you know. Didn't think we were going to have any tomatoes. In fact, when I planted them, they were awful. They were tiny little plants, worst I've ever had in spring when it came to planting. And I honestly thought we weren't going to get a crop this year. But as you can see, they've grown. They've had plenty of fertiliser. Started them off in the ground at the end of May, beginning June. They had a good handful of bloodfish and bone and some well-rotted compost in each of the planting holes, and they've been fed well ever since. And as you can see, they've grown like mad. But I am behind with my jobs, so I'll let's have a quick look at what I need to be doing right now to keep these growing and get the best crop. So, some of the most important jobs to do now, and as I say, I'm well behind with this. Oh, and do excuse the sparrowhawks. We've got a family of 3 or 4 sparrowhawks around, nest here every year, and they're very noisy. But what I need to do is get these tidied up. These are cordon varieties, so they're grown up a single stem, and they'd love to produce side shoots. Well, we don't want the side shoots, so need to trim those out. This is rather large, this one. Should be got much smaller than this, but still, there we go. Taking out side shoots, as I say, I'm a bit behind with this and they've grown a bit large. We've got, if we look at the top of the plant, got another one up here. Be careful not to damage the flowers, and we'll take that one out as well. Take him out, get all of that, and then, of course, I'm growing up strings, so we need to wrap these plants around the strings. Another little side shoot there. And I do that just very carefully by wrapping the leaves, avoiding any damage to the trusses, and just wrap the tops around the strings really carefully, because they do snap rather easily, like that. And that will support them. When we get to the top of the plant, and there's a few we'll see in a minute down the bottom, which have grown a little larger, take the tops out and let the plant energies then be concentrated on the trusses that we've got to form some nice fruit. A few other jobs you need to do as well. Every now and again you get strange things happening with tomatoes, and I've got a few which is a few examples here. One is a truss which sends out a shoot. So it's a nice truss of flowers, but it's got a shoot on the end. So what I shall have to do is just trim that off. Knife or some snips. Trim that off so that the energy goes into the flowers and the fruit, and not into growing shoots that we don't need. And lo and behold, I found another side shoot. One of the other jobs I've been doing is de-leafing and looking at the base of these plants, which I haven't done yet. You can see it's really overcrowded at the bottom and not much air can get through, and when I'm watering it's really difficult to find the bottom of the plants just to water them. So what I do about now, once they've set the first truss of fruit, you can see trusses are setting really well, is to de-leaf. So I take the leaves off the bottom of the plants, excuse the weeds, got a bit of weeding to do as well behind with that. But I take leaves off. You can take them up to the first truss, but with some plants they haven't set fruit until quite late, so the truss is quite high, in which case I'll probably take off the first 3 or 4 leaves at the base to start with, just to get a bit of air around the plant, and so I can see where to feed and water more easily. As the plants carry on, as we start to crop, I'll gradually take more and more leaves off until we get to the very top of the plant. It come the autumn when there's just a few fruit left to ripen, and by that time there'll be hardly any leaves, if any, on the plant, and we'll just be ripening fruit. But don't take too many off, as I say, at first, I've just taken off the first probably 3-4 leaves at the bottom, or as I say, if you've got a truss set nice and low, then you can take leaves off up until the first truss, and you do this, as I say, once fruit is set properly on your first truss. Lots more going on in the polytunnel right now. So in here we've got some squashes opposite the tomatoes that I just showed you. I've got squashes. This is a little squash called Honey Bear. You can see it's just starting to grow nicely. Quite pleased with that. I think we've got probably 1 per plant at the moment, and I've got 3 plants. And then we've got courgettes in here as well. And you might notice I'm watering them this year through little bottles, been saving water bottles and putting the spikes on the bottom, watering spikes like this. Just find that it's easier, it waters them without splashing the leaves mostly. Also there's a bit of a slope in here, and if you water it direct on the roots, it all runs down the hill. But by just letting the water drip out slowly and not getting on the leaves, it does help to cut down on mildew. I've always also managed to keep these mildew free so far this year. I've seen a few spots coming up and I've had to cut a couple of leaves off, but I've kept that down with either milk sprays or SB plant invigorator. I find that works really well, and that kills the pests off as well, if you find any. But yeah, so far so good. That's kept the mildew in check. And we've had a few courgettes, a few different varieties in here. The yellow ones have come up first, been harvested first. And we've got a few, those green ones coming. The ones which are really slow are my favourite, which is the Romanesco. And they're taking a little bit longer, but they're just starting. So before long, we'll be looking for things to do with courgettes. Also in here, thinking ahead crops for when the tomatoes have gone. So what we've got is early purple sprouting plants coming along, and potting up, I think, actually. They're looking a little bit starved. And I've just sown here some chicory, which is coming along quite nicely. Some chicory and some spring cabbage. And along with broad beans, the whole polytunnel will be planted up over winter, and partly so that we get some nice crops in the spring, but also it keeps the soil in good condition. If you're growing something in the polytunnel, you're watering, you're feeding, you're keeping the soil busy. It's not just sitting there getting dry, because obviously in a polytunnel you don't get any rain, and if it sits there dry over winter, it's quite a job to rejuvenate it and get it going again in the spring. So if you can keep the soil busy, keep it cropping over the winter, it stays in good condition then for the whole year. Finally, let's have a look at what's going on in the greenhouse. So at the moment in the greenhouse we've got cucumbers going on. Cucumbers and more cucumbers. These are mini munch, which are my favourite. I like to grow the small snack sized cucumbers rather than the big ones. It's just nice to be able to eat them all in one go. They're just sandwich sized for one person, and I love them. I'll cut them into sticks for just to munch on. Lovely. As with the squashes in the polytunnel, been spraying these with the plant invigorator, and also you can see a bit of milk, just to keep the mildew down, because that's the biggest problem with these. That always brings them to an end. So cucumbers, we've got peppers. Now these ones are the little, see if we can get in, the little pepper tube peppers. Let's find one for you. Still only just forming, and they're never going to get very big. Yeah, little pepper tubes, which are the little ones that you get stuffed in with cream cheese in jars. But not grown these before. They're not easy to get the seeds. You can buy one called peach pepper dew, I've seen, which I'm going to try next year. That sounds lovely. But this is the more traditional red one. Find the pepper flowers Absolutely gorgeous. They're all different. Every variety is different. And this one is particularly lovely. It's got a lovely yellowy green centre to it. It's really nice. Got supported up strings, very much like the tomatoes next door. So we'll get a bit top heavy, even though they're only little peppers than these. Growing in pots in grow bags this year. I sometimes grow them in self-watering containers like the peppers there, but I opted for this year, just because I've seen some plants growing at seed trials, Mr. Fothergill's, which were looking lovely. Wrote about it in the magazine this year, and I thought I'd give it another go myself. Used to grow them in grow bags, then had a break from that. I'm trying it again. And then we've got Tolly's Sweet American, which is a sweet pepper. Still early stages with these. We'll have to come back when all the tomatoes and the peppers are ripening. This one's got a beautiful pure white flower. Absolutely lovely. Pretty as any garden ornamental plant, aren't they? Absolutely lovely. And then next door to that, yet more cucumbers. I do like my cucumbers, but that's quite a good job, really, isn't it? And they're looking healthy as well at the moment. And what I'll do with these is to train them up and along the poles there, the canes. By which time probably I'll need to perhaps put in a second crop. I think I might be able to get away with that. I'm going to try that beans and the cucumbers this year. See if we can get a second crop going. I've had to keep these in trays of water, over trays of water. Terrible ants problem in the greenhouse, and that's the only way I can find to keep ants out of the pots. But it does seem to work. It's a bit of a top tip there. Otherwise, not too much veggie-wise in the greenhouse this year. I've got lots of cuttings going on from plants outside, penstemons. Sage, getting the sage going. That's a lovely one to take from cuttings at this time of year. Got an old tired plant which I've had for years. So taking some cuttings is a good way of increasing your stocks. And basil plant, which has been going for ages. Absolutely lovely. That's just a shop bought one. Which I've had from early spring, and it just keeps producing. As long as you keep feeding and watering, really good value, those. And we have got a couple of plants, going back to peppers. This is New Max Big Jim. So again, a mild pepper, but nice big long horn. You could stuff the peppers on those. There's loads of pollen actually coming off of that one. And another lovely pure white bloom. Yes, I do like them. Oh, some rose cuttings there, which I took, and just starting to flower. Beautiful. And from my niece's bridal bouquet, so I'm quite proud of those. So that's what we've got in the greenhouse at the moment. And we'll come back at another time and see the peppers and tomatoes ripening. If you've enjoyed this video, press the like button, and also give us a comment. Let us know what you're doing in the garden at the moment. And if you like our videos generally, it'd be really great if you'd subscribe to our YouTube channel.